What's up guys, Stark here. Today I'm going to be doing a new type of video, which is a video I probably should have done a long time ago, but I never really felt the need to do it, but I am going to just try and start doing these type of videos more and more often. And that's going to be like a somewhat of a preparation video for new Fortnites and raid bosses and whatever new content comes out, like Coliseums and things like that. You know, I decided to do it just because it gives a little bit more time for me to talk about some of the things I don't get to talk about in the actual walkthrough of the video. It's like of the event itself. So this is, you know, a cool little new thing I'm going to be trying to do here. And we're going to start with the Donquixote Family Kids Fortnite. Now this one's coming out in a couple days, and it will be coming out during the next batch of skill ups, which is always really cool, because then you can just primarily focus on those couple of days of farming and knock out the Fortnite. So I'm going to mainly be talking about the units you can get in the Fortnite and the skill books you can get in the Fortnite. And then when it actually gets released, I'll make the video, my usual video where I play through the Fortnite and I explain what each stage does and what teams you can use. So this is just going to be kind of like an overview on like the skill books and the characters and if it's actually worth farming or not. So as for the skill books, you know, I don't really have them in order or anything like that, but I did try and put them from like bad to good and stuff like that. But anyway, first up is Kashi, and he's going to be a story mode unit most people probably don't have, and his special is not really that good, so if you don't have him, you know, don't bother really farming him. But he'll seal himself for 5 turns, and then he will reduce damage received by 30% for 5 turns, and maxes at 20 turns. So, you know, it's not really amazing. You're probably never going to use this guy. But if you do have him, and you're like me and you want to max all the specials, then you're probably going to get a lot of them. I expect this book to be pretty common. But yeah, you know, not much to see there. A lot of these characters in this Fortnite aren't really the best skill book wise. But, you know, some of them are useful, some of them are worth maxing if you don't have them maxed. But moving on here to Gloriosa, which is going to be another story mode character from Amazon Lily. And her special is just going to recover 13 times the character's recovery in HP. So just a little bit of a healer at 15 turns. Again, probably never going to use her for anything. But if you have her, you know, there you go. You got a chance to max her right there. Next up is going to be Pell, who will boost the attack of quick characters by 1.25 for 3 turns. It's not a huge bonus for his attack, but, you know, it is something. It is for 3 turns. It maxes at 15 turns. It can be useful for, like, early, you know, game content if you don't have a lot of quick characters or quick boosters and stuff like that. But, you know, late game stuff, you're probably never going to use Pell for a special. You're probably just going to use him for, like, his zombie ability and stuff like that. But it is always nice to max. I actually have 2 Pells, one for his max special and one for his captain effect for his zombie ability. So moving on here, we have Kumadori, which is going to be the rare recruit version of him. And he's got a pretty good special. He's going to switch orbs between slots 3 times, and he's going to lock all orbs for 1 turn. Which, you know, it's a pretty specific special, and, you know, it can be useful in a lot of different ways. I actually have this guy unevolved so I can use him on Sengoku teams. And, you know, being able to swap orbs 3 times and then lock them for 1 turn, it is very useful. It does max at 15 turns, so, you know, even if you have him evolved, you could probably find a slot for him. But I do think a lot of his main use is for Sengoku teams when he's unevolved. But he is a really nice unit to have, and if you have him, I would suggest maxing him, because you never know when you're going to need something like that. Moving on here, we have Donsai, who has a pretty good special where he's going to deal 20 times his attack and strength damage to all enemies. And then for 2 turns, he's going to boost the attack of striker and fighter characters by a variable amount depending on his HP. So under 30%, I believe it is a 1.75 boost, which is the highest you're going to get. But he maxes at 16 turns, so there are other characters that does what he does, but better, like Koala gives the same attack boost for fighters, but she maxes at 11 turns. So you're probably not going to really have too much of a use for this guy unless you're using him on like a strength team for stats or something like that. But if you don't have Koala, or, you know, you want that 2-turn boost or something, you could use him. I'm going to try and max him because it is a good special. So there are probably places where you would want to use him. But, you know, just because his cooldown's a little bit higher than Koala, it just makes Koala usually a better option. But you never know when you can just put Donquixote in there and have it work. So I want to be prepared, because 23 turns where it starts is just way too high for any type of special. So, you know, I do want to try and max it. Moving on here, we have Dagama, who is a really useful special for very specific situations, but having this guy max will definitely help. He's going to reduce paralysis and despair duration by 5 turns, and then he's going to cut the current HP of one enemy by 10%. So that is amazingly useful. Paralysis is so annoying, and being able to get rid of that for 5 turns is just fantastic. Again, you know, much like with Kumadori, I'm going to have 1 5-star, 1 4-star, so I can use this guy on potential Sengoku teams, because getting rid of that paralysis is super helpful. So, you know, I just want to be prepared for any situations, and he does this really well, so definitely going to try and max 1, if not both copies of this guy. And then next up we have Marco the Phoenix. You know, he's an old school guy. You know, most people have him already. Most people have a max, but his special recovers all of your HP, which is insanely good because a lot of teams now have tons of HP. So you could just take hits forever and then just recover that all back up to 100%, no problems. The only issue is that it is at 20 turns, and a lot of people have Legend Marco, who basically does the same thing, but he's better. But if you don't have Legend Marco and you still do need a healer, Marco is very good for that. So now we're going to move on to the 2 rare books that drop in this Fortnite. The first one being the St. Carlos. And unlike the other 2 Celestial Dragons, this guy is actually, unfortunately, useful. He is going to reduce the defense of all enemies by 100% for 1 turn, and he's going to randomize all your orbs. And, you know, a lot of other characters do that, but I could be wrong. I haven't really checked. I should have probably checked, but I believe he has the lowest cooldown for any defense reducer to 100%. Because I know, like, Shanks and Helmeppo are at 20 turns, and I believe the Manticore, I think he's at 18 turns. I could be wrong about that, but, you know, this guy's at 16 turns, so it could be useful. He could see some play if you need that. And that's sad and unfortunate, but, you know, it is there. And he does randomize all your orbs, so that could also be, you know, pretty useful if you have a bad, you know, set of orbs on that turn. And then the last book you can get in this Fortnite is going to be the Legend Law books. And Law's got a pretty solid special here. He's going to make damage and health cutting specials on all characters, bypass any defensive buff. Which is really nice, because when you get those, you know, combo barriers or damage barriers and things like that, and you're using like a Mihawk team or something where you rely on the HP cuts, you can't use them, and then you lose out on a ton of damage. But with Law Special, you just pop Law Special, and then you could just use all your HP cuts and not worry about it at all. And he's also going to deal 50 times his attack in fixed damage or fixed side damage to one enemy. So it's nice. It is a 2-turn or a 2-stage special, but the stage 2 max is at 20 turns, so it's a little bit high, but you're pretty much just going to be using this guy on a boss stage anyway, so it should generally be ready when you need it to be used. So that's pretty much it for the skill books. You know, if you have Law, it's worth it. Other than that, like Donquixote and Dagama, maybe Kumadori, but most people should have Kumadori max by now. He's been in quite a few Fortnites. So overall, like, the books aren't the best. You know, there is skill up, so if you want to do this, just focus on farming during the couple of skill up days, and then just forget about it and do something else. And the characters that actually drop in this Fortnite aren't really the best either. But the boss is going to be Baby 5, and she's going to boost the attack and recovery of side characters by 1.5 for her captain effect. Again, you know, it's not a lot, you know, it's not really that good. She's a Fortnite character. There aren't really that many useful, good Fortnite characters out there for their captain effects. She doesn't have a sailor ability, and her special will cut the current HP of each enemy by 10%, and then boost the attack of shooter characters by 1.5 for 1 turn. That's pretty solid. it could see some play, but you know, not a lot. It does max at 10 turns, so you could potentially take her with you and use it on like a mini boss stage or something if you need that little bit of extra boost to damage. The mini boss is going to be Buffalo, and his captain effect will recover 500 HP at the end of each turn. So there you go, that's pointless. That's basically just an auto heal, not even a max level auto heal, just a little bit of auto heal. You're gonna get no attack bonus. You don't want to use this guy as your captain. He has no sailor ability, and his special will change his own orb into int and the captain's orb into bomb, which potentially could be useful in a couple different teams. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever use this guy. He does max at 10 turns. It's always nice to have low cooldowns. It does make it more viable to put him into a team that way. But I don't think I'll ever use this guy. And then the secret boss here is going to be a Kid Law. And his captain ability will boost the attack of driven characters by 2.75 and reduce his current HP by 10% at the end of each turn. And he'll also reduce his own attack multiplier by 0.1 at the end of each turn. So that's a pretty solid attack boost for driven characters. It could be useful for like a couple of like speed clearing teams if you don't have a better option. But it's kind of like Nightmare Luffy that, I know we don't have him, but each turn you will lose your current attack multiplier. So the faster you beat it, the better. For his special, he's going to reduce the cooldown of driven characters by 1, and then if you hit all perfects on the turn you activate his special, he'll further reduce the cooldowns of driven characters by 1, which could see a little bit of play. It is at 9 turns for its max, so you could potentially use that to get some of your higher cooldowns ready for a boss stage, but, you know, sacrificing another slot on your team for Law just to reduce your cooldowns, probably not going to happen a lot, so this guy's pretty much just going to be fed to Rare Recruit Law or Legend Law for sockets after you keep that one copy of yourself, or one copy for yourself. But that's pretty much it. You know, that sums up all like the overview and all the characters and books you can get in this Fortnite. Me personally, there's not a whole lot in here that I need. You know, the Donsai books and the Dagama books are pretty much it. I don't have Law. We get the Zoro Suga Fest during... Wait, I do have Law. What am I talking about? I do have Law. So I will try and max him. But for those who don't have Law, you know, the Zoro Suga Fest is coming out, so maybe you can get lucky and pull Law and Zoro there, and then you'll be able to max Law special during the skill up while this Fortnite's out. But yeah, that's it, pretty much it, guys. Just a couple quick little things I want to throw out there. As far as teams go, I know I said I would talk about it more in the next video, and I will. But some teams you can use Jinbei teams, you can use Sengoku teams, you can use Raid Boss Kuma teams, which is probably the team I'm actually going to be using to farm, because it's actually pretty gimmicky, but it's really cool to use, and it's pretty fast. The condition is that child characters will get a boost in attack and lower cooldowns, but I don't recommend really trying to make a team out of those characters. It can work, but you know, you have to play around with it a lot, and there are faster teams out there. But if you want to do it, you can use like I don't even know who you could use, like a double Leo maybe. There are a lot of different characters you can use, but not a whole lot of them synergize into a team that'll make it work. So I would just stay away from that and just use a regular team. But yeah, guys, that's it. You know, just let me know if you guys want me to make more of these type of videos. You know, it's a work in progress, so I'll try and, you know, piece it together in further videos and things like that. But that's pretty much it here for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.